Well, and he's beaten Medina twice this year. Once was a fairly close match, 9-4, but the last time they wrestled, which was really only a couple days after the first time, Gillespie technical fouled Medina pretty quickly, 15-0. So it's a senior freshman matchup, but as you said, the freshman's very talented. Medina also very talented wrestler. So low single attempt by Gillespie, and Medina does a nice job of blocking the low single and scooting around the corner as he drags him around the corner for his 2-point takedown.
Medina, a native of Las Vegas. He wrestled 2 years at the junior college level, Pima Community College, and then came to Lock Haven last year. He's 53-15 in 2 years so far at the Division I level, and off to a solid start here. Medina leading the freshman Gillespie. Gillespie gets to his feet and gets out for the escape point. It's a 2-1 lead. There's an attempted shot by Gillespie that's fought off by Medina.
Well, really not a very good shot by Gillespie. Medina was really down and based out pretty low in his stance, and Gillespie still tried to shoot underneath him without trying to either stand him up or pull him forward a little bit. And Medina easily able to counter that.
2-1, that's the lead for Medina as we approach the halfway mark of period number 1. The two matchups between these wrestlers really haven't been close. There was a 15-0 Tech fall win by Gillespie in the dual meet season, and in the PSAC finals, Medina, or I should say Gillespie won that one over Medina 9-4. But Medina with the early lead here, 2-1.
Early lead, and Medina's strategy obviously is to keep some distance between him and Gillespie and force Gillespie to come to him. Now the problem with that is if Gillespie is smart about it and stays in good shape and keeps peppering away, there's that high crotch by Medina. Doesn't finish it though. Gillespie does a good job in countering. Locked around the waist there.
Very close to the boundary.
Close to the boundary, and Medina has done a nice job of circling himself that way to not be able to give up a takedown there. It was a nice shot by Medina because he was in, nice shot, left-handed high crotch, and just allowed Gillespie's hip to slip away. It's one of the things about Gillespie that makes him so good is his hips are pretty heavy and they're pretty flexible, so he's able to slide around a lot of those things that other guys aren't able to do.
Gillespie ranked in the top 10 in a couple of the major polls. In the Intermat poll, he's number 7. In the Amateur Wrestling News poll, he's number 8.
Now, the thing that I said was going to make the point earlier before Medina's shot was if he keeps backing up that way, he's going to get warned for stalling because he's not making any real offensive attempts like that, and forcing Gillespie to cut. There's Gillespie on a nice double leg. They're kind of rolling through a little bit. Gillespie's close to having himself a takedown, and Medina's close to being pinned.
Just 2 seconds left, and that's really what saved Josh Medina. He was saved by the buzzer on the scoreboard. And Medina will take a 2-1 lead into period number 2. We take a look at the final seconds there of period number 1.
Now Gillespie rolls there. He really is almost flat on his back, is able to hold on there and not give up that takedown.
We begin period 2 in a neutral position.
Well, Medina does not want to be on the bottom.
Medina with a 2-1 lead. And Gillespie attempting a shot there. Medina trying to fight him off. Gillespie pushing Medina toward the boundary, and there's the stalemate. 1:35 to go here in period number 2.
It seems to me that stalling warning is going to come along here pretty shortly because Gillespie is still trying to shoot even though Medina is backing away.
Medina went to the NCAA's last year, missed All-America status by 1 win, and he'll be going back this year. Medina trying to finish off a win over Gillespie, but Gillespie in on a double leg, and he scores 2.
Scores 2, and it looks like he's got a 1-2 count. There's a near fall.
So the takedown puts Gillespie in the lead 3-2, and a couple of near fall points. It's a 5-2 lead for Gillespie.
Well, and anybody will tell you, when you're wrestling, the best time to look for a near fall is right after the takedown, because the defensive wrestler is usually toward his back and scrambling, hasn't had himself a base yet, and the Gillespie, after the takedown, just attacked him and was able to score that 2-point near fall.
35 seconds to go here in this second period, and Gillespie has had a strong second period to take control of this 145-pound match. We'll take a look at the Lock Haven bench. Rocky Bonomo, the head coach in his 4th year at Lock Haven. 15 seconds left. And there's a whistle for a stalemate with 13 seconds left, and Tim Flynn is up off the Edinburgh bench. He's not pleased with that.
They didn't call a stalemate, Kyle. He called a double warning for stalling, which is a little bit surprising. I guess he thought that Gillespie wasn't doing enough on top either in terms of being parallel. But Medina was just simply trying to base out and keep himself from getting turned.
So Gillespie still on top. The ride time up over 40 seconds. And Gillespie has a 5-2 lead as we count down the final seconds of period number 2. And again, Gillespie dominated that second period.
There's that single leg. He sucks it up and trips Medina right to his back, and then just traps him there as he gets that 2 count before Medina's able to base out back to his stomach. And those are 4 big points. Again, anytime you can score a near fall off the takedown, that's a huge advantage that you end up gaining.
We've got an injury timeout for Josh Medina. Lock Haven senior getting his left wrist taped up. Gives him an opportunity, gives both wrestlers an opportunity to get a breather, as it's a 5-2 lead for Gregor Gillespie, the freshman from Edinburgh. Medina came into this tournament having won 5 in a row. He's 2-0 so far in the tournament, 7 straight wins. Gillespie with a 12-match winning streak coming into this championship match. 5-2, that's the lead for Gillespie. And Gillespie will begin period 3 on top. Medina got to his feet quickly and then was dropped right back down to the mat.
Well, Gillespie just showed nice hips there, just able to slide in underneath, pop him up in the air. And Medina looks like if he doesn't get off the start, he's pretty content to lay with his stomach on the mat so that Gillespie can't turn him, which keeps you from getting turned and keeps you from getting a lot of points scored on you. And I understand not wanting to get your shoulders all twisted out and, you know, have your neck be wrenched and all those kinds of things, but you can't win from laying flat on your stomach on the bottom.
Ride time up to 1 minute 25 seconds now. Gillespie in control after dominating the second period. He spent the entire third period on top so far. Clock down to 1 minute 10, ride time up to 1:38.
Well, and see, and Gillespie too is staying parallel behind. There's a double stall warning again, and 1 point apiece per person. And what our official Joe Tauber is saying is, look, you have Gillespie on top. I know Medina on the bottom isn't doing much of anything, but on top, Gillespie is staying completely parallel and straight behind him. He's got one leg on both sides, and even though he's working side to side with the tight waist, he's really not doing much of anything to put himself in any kind of position where he's taking any risk on top either.
Tim Flynn, the Edinburgh coach, went all the way to the scorer's table, got a conference with Tauber, and then went right back to his seat. So it's 6-3 now. The lead remains at 3 for Gillespie, and the ride time point is almost guaranteed as there's under a minute to go here in the third period. The ride time up close to 2 minutes now. So the ride time point guaranteed for Gregor Gillespie. So the lead in essence is 7-3. And Medina in a lot of trouble. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to put up much of a defense here in the final 30 seconds.
Well, and I wouldn't be surprised there. It just calls a stalemate because he has the leg in there. But Medina really has not mounted much from the bottom. I understand not wanting to have that half poured in there and that power half, and my gosh, that's a lot of torque on your neck, and it's certainly a lot of torque on your shoulder, especially with that leg in. It makes you traps your hip. It's hard to move, but he's got to work to get out.
Right
There
back down
to
the
roll
mat.
through.
Gillespie stays on top. 15 seconds left. Gregor Gillespie will win at 149 pounds. And the freshman joining Brandon Rader of West Virginia as freshman EWL champions in 2006. 7-3 the final with the ride time point. Gregor Gillespie beats senior Josh Medina. And for Gillespie, that's his 13th consecutive win. And he will take a top 10 ranking and that long winning streak into the NCAA tournament later this month in Oklahoma City. When we return, we'll see West Virginia's 5 senior Matt Levy against Seth Martin at 157 pounds. Stay with us.
50 years ago, the University of Pittsburgh developed the first vaccine that conquered polio. In the 1980s, we became the world's leading